It's the radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to the Sunday night edition of the Mike Prince Show. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend thus far. Well, actually, the weekend is almost officially over with. Of course, we got a lot to discuss on tonight. We're going to have our special guest, Shotgun Willie Simmons from FAMU. We'll get caught up with what's going on throughout the world of FAMU athletics, football in particular. ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, Pac-12. All these guys still running around with the mad cricket scramble. But it is what it is, and it's going to do what it's going to do. So much to discuss, and always a short time to get it done. People are still making decisions, some indecisive. But sooner or later, as the old saying goes, we're going to have to poop or get off the pot to let it do what it needs to do. And speaking of that, let us jump right into tonight's episode. Once again, hope things are fine with you and you guys, wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us on yet another Sunday night. Our guest, as we mentioned at the introduction, will be Shotgun Willie Simmons. He will join us, and we'll discuss the world that shall be. No MEAC, no SWAC fall athletics. So I guess now, unless something happens in the spring which would allow SWAC to participate in fall athletics, in particular football, we might as well get geared up for 2021. Personally, I do not see the full value of trying to play a fall football schedule. I know the optimists out there are saying that we have an opportunity to have a slam dunk, if you would, when it comes to TV possibilities and rights being the only action during the spring. But your TV deal is going to be your TV deal. As far as my understanding goes, we're locked for another 5 years with ESPN. I don't know if there's any major significance that can be accomplished with the unique scenario that we find ourselves in. But as they say, you can't hurt to try, right? We have not because we ask. You will try to get all you can while you can to keep things moving full steam ahead. So we'll see how all that goes. And I was doing some more thinking. If there was a sport that we could possibly get away with in the fall with things as they are right now, and I was thinking it would more than likely be volleyball. Less players and personnel to deal with. You could have a controlled bubble-like scenario, but the challenge would be once the games are complete, and how would you have range on the whereabouts of your student athletes and personnel, to be quite honest with you, once things have settled. Meanwhile, schools are still planning on opening. I think August 14th, there's some scheduled move-in dates across the nation. And it's still going to be interesting to see how these things are going to be played out. We took a poll earlier this week, and amazingly, 58% of the poll believe that there will be some form of football to be played this fall, some type of fall sport. As I mentioned, I could see the possibilities of the Power Five trying to do what they have to do due to the TV contracts involved. Some of your Group 5s and FCS programs are nowhere in comparison with the TV deals, and would the sacrifice be worth the reward? But I'm sure they will play chicken until as close as possible that they'll make an ultimate decision, even though in my mind decision has been made. But as I mentioned before, I'm just a show host. Don't forget, we have a 24-hour message line. You guys can call and leave your comments, suggestions, and even complaints if there are any. That phone number is 713-570-6736. What we're going to do is take us a break. We're going tonight. Mr. Shotgun Willie Simmons. See what he has cooking up his sleeve. And get ready to talk some FAMU sports and some SWAC sports right now as far as football goes. You listen to the Sunday Night Live edition of the Mike Prince Show on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Keep it where you got it. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is Alonzo Hardy Jr., the president of the SWAC Alumni Association. The SWAC Alumni Association is an organization founded on December 10, 1999, at the Sheraton Hotel in Birmingham, Alabama. Its mission is to serve as a rallying ground for individuals who have made the Southwestern Athletic Conference the illustrious conference that it is today. Its membership is open to former student athletes who played in the conference in any sport, as well as to coaches, athletic administrators, staff members, game officials, and fans. Annually, the association holds a Legends Awards and Roast Banquet or luncheon where it honors individuals with Lifetime Achievement Awards, a Chuck Prophet Wackenmaster Award, and occasionally a Distinguished Service Award. Proceeds from that event help to finance degree completion scholarships for student athletes who have exhausted their playing eligibility at SWAC universities, but who may still need an extra semester or two to complete their college studies. For more information on the SWAC Alumni Association, or to get information on becoming a member, you can send correspondence to SWAC Alumni Association, 875 Miller Creek Lane, Newport News, Virginia, 23602. The email address is SWACalumniassociation@yahoo.com.
We'd like to recognize sponsors. Attorney Lee Van Richardson, located at 1047 Austin Street in Hempstead, Texas. Their phone number is 979-826-8008. Diva Skin Conditioner, located at divafeet.com, D-I-V-A-H feet.com. Their phone number, 903-270-0026. Prairie View Athletic Club, serving student athletes since 1986. Their phone number is 936-857-5817. Temple of Refuge Ministries, located in Prairie View, Texas, at 45372 Old Highway 290. Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union, several locations to serve you. Katy, Rosenberg, Brenham, Bryan, College Station, and Waller, Texas. Their phone numbers, toll free, 855-391-2149. If you or your business would like to be a part of the sponsorship team here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, contact us at 832-213-8824.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday Night Live edition of the Mike Prince Show. Of course, we're coming to you right here from the Open Mic Broadcast Network. But as my grandmother used to say, we're going to reach down to Florida right about now. And we're going to get caught up with a person who's no stranger to the network and the program. That's none other than Coach Shotgun Willie Simmons. How you doing, sir?
Oh, man, just enjoying a little bit of downtime, but always good to talk to you, brother.
Always good to talk to you as well, my friend. You said enjoying some downtime. This man, I guess when you're young and full of life, you just take the bull by the horns, literally, right? Tell everybody where you are, man.
We're enjoying a little bit of sunlight and the cool breeze out here in Destin, Florida.
Yeah, that's the difference between a youngster and an old bull. But nonetheless, enjoy yourself. And last time we spoke, man, it's been a minute, but you got a new addition to the family. Congratulations.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Truth Simmons, the mic drop baby, so to speak. It's the last one for us.
Be careful what you say now. Don't never say never.
Well, there's a few reasons why I can say never to this one.
Okay, we have been experiencing that COVID, and you are on a little getaway right now. So I don't want to have you say, "Well, Mike, I thought I had to drop the mic, baby." This definitely gonna be the drop the mic, baby. So we'll keep you breasted on that, man. Well, look, a lot of downtime, as you just mentioned. The MEAC and now the SWAC. Well, the MEAC has straight up suspended. The SWAC has left a little hope where there could be a possible fall scenario. As far as you and the Rattlers are concerned right now, it's full steam ahead and next stop, SWAC country, huh?
Yeah. Looking forward to July, the official move to the SWAC, and coming back to where I cut my teeth as a head coach.
Where you cut your teeth as a head coach, in the back of your mind you couldn't wait to get back to the SWAC. And I FAMU, I just don't put it out there, and there's no shame. They don't lack confidence, their fan base, do they?
At all. Not at all. As we say, we brag different.
Yeah. Braggadocious, I guess would be the word for it. But it's a unique flavor. And, personally, I thought that it didn't get no, irritating than the Southern fan base. But I think FAMU fan base is a little bit more irritating than the Southern fan base.
Well, I think we can be. When you look at the fact that we're the top public HBCU in the land and one of the most storied athletic programs in the land, if you combine those two, it gives our fan base, a few reasons to talk some trash in the chat line.
The chat line, the bread line, the soup line, any line that they can formulate, they just talking it up, man. I was like, good Lord, I had to hit pause for a second, man. But nonetheless, it's good. The energy is there, and it's not being, as they say, buffered, not even by the leadership. We had, I call him the young gun, Brother Gaucher, on, I guess about 3 or 4 weeks ago now. And, man, I thought I was going to have to get security to get him under wraps, man. You guys are just on fire. And we know how you can become, Brother Shotgun.
Oh, man, look at you trying to put me out there.
No, ain't no trying, brother. Y'all already out there. Y'all already out there. But it's a good thing. It is good for the conference. It's good for the games. Now you just got to kind of put the rubber to the road and let this thing back itself. It sounds like I'm hearing the truth come out.
Yeah, the truth is coming out. So we'll pass the truth to a mother so we can get the same.
Oh, man. So as I was saying, it looks like now you guys are going to get focused on doing your preparation for the conference of the new conference that is. How do you go about that, and how do you approach this with your guys, knowing that you don't have anything for this fall? What's going to happen with your seniors? Do your seniors try to stay around for yet another year? How do you work all these schematics out?
Well, honestly, it's got a lot of moving parts to it. And I honestly don't have definitive answers to a lot of those questions. And I frankly don't think anyone does. This is unprecedented. This is something that none of us has ever been through before. And so there's nothing to base it off of. When you're talking about the potential of guys losing entire seasons in bulk, not just one or two guys, but an entire senior class, that poses a lot of issues. And obviously football is the largest sport as far as sheer numbers. And so it's not like some of the spring sports that were able to get years back for their seniors. You're talking about, like in our situation, for example, we have 15 seniors in this class. And so the possibility of having to bring all 15 individuals back for another year, that obviously has huge implications on the incoming freshman class, and the number of guys that you can sign, because I don't think the NCAA is going to give us more scholarships, so to speak. So there are a lot of logistical things. There's a lot of planning that has to go into it. And I think that these are things that the NCAA, the presidents, chancellors, the athletic directors, and everyone involved, have to get together and really decide what's best for everyone involved, because this is a situation that's going to really change the landscape of our teams for not just the foreseeable future, but down the line when you're talking about trying to balance classes and keep yourself with a competitive team.
No doubt. And it sounds noble. It sounds like the right thing. It looks good in the press clippings to say that we're going to do our best to honor all the seniors, to extend their dreams. But there are two realities that hit me from outside looking in. The number one reality, someone is going to have to be able to fund this thing. Okay. And then the number two reality is, why would you hang around if you're A, prospect of going pro, or B, not a prospect of going pro for an additional year? You should take advantage of this opportunity to get ahead in your educational piece and get prepared for the real world. Am I crazy for looking at it like that?
No, not at all. You're absolutely right. So you look at the Power 5 teams, the Division I FBS teams, where obviously you have a lot more not draft eligible guys, but guys that will have those opportunities to play professional football. Many of them will have a decision to make. Do they pursue their lifelong dreams of playing NFL football next year, as opposed to trying to get another year back, or come back to school, to play your last season of college football with the risk of, possibly getting injured, or in some cases improving your draft stock. So that's that element. And then, like you said, at the FCS level, which the SWAC, the MEAC, and all of us are part of, the vast majority of our guys, over 90% of them, won't play professionally, as far as football goes. And so is it just putting one more year on your football career, because like I said, the majority of these guys will end their football careers once their eligibility is up at their respective institutions. And so do you leave, go ahead and just hang up the cleats and get out there into the real world and start your journey as a full-fledged adult now, or do you hang on to one more year of college football? So again, there are a lot of decisions that have to be made by the individuals, but then that's not even talking about the decisions that we as coaches have to make, because obviously when they give those guys a year back, it's still at the discretion of the coach. And so each head coach will have to sit there and make the decision of which seniors they would even be willing to bring back, because again, they're not going to delay the high school senior class. The high school seniors don't get a year back. So if there's some high school seniors that won't play this year, they won't get a year back. That's just not possible to have 5 years in high school. And so there's still a ton of incoming freshmen that we want to bring into our program. And like I said, the NCAA is not going to allow the Power 5 institutions more than 85 scholarships, and probably not going to allow the FCS programs more than the 63 scholarships that we're allotted. And so how does that affect the balance of your class? Do you, in our case, bring back 15 seniors, and then the 18 juniors that we have joined them in 2021, and now you have 33 seniors with no incoming freshmen? So that when those 33 seniors leave, you're going to bring in 33 freshmen to replace them, and now your team it goes from being a senior-led team to a freshman-led team. I mean, it's just, again, there are a lot of things that have to be considered with this move, and I think that's why so many of us are kind of pushing to figure out a way to play, even if it's a reduced schedule, a conference-only schedule, something of those lines, a spring schedule. Just give these guys an opportunity to play their senior years. 8 games is better than none, so if you're playing 8 games as opposed to 11, I think that's a healthy compromise for the senior class of 2020. And it's unfortunate, obviously, for those guys, but this is something that we're all dealing with. But we all have to figure out the best way to move forward to ensure the short-term and long-term success of athletic programs.
We're talking live right now with Shotgun Willie Simmons of the FAMU Rattlers, the possibilities of what if, and we just hit the tip of the iceberg. We're talking about the senior part of it. Now, you just made mention about the possible 8-game conference schedule, and I get that. Once again, sounds great. Would it even be on the table? Not in the case of the MEAC because they're not broken up into divisions. We're going to focus on the SWAC right now. As far as I'm concerned, you're SWAC material right now because football is out the window in the MEAC. So here on out, it's going to be SWAC oriented. With that being said, would it even be feasible just to have divisional games only instead of?
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think if things don't get much better, and as far as COVID-19 and the handle that we as a nation have on this virus, I think it makes a lot of sense because again, you're looking at travel. You know, obviously, when you're talking about social distancing and all those things, you want to try to prevent flying if possible. It's still not feasible for FAMU, for example, to fly to Houston to play a football game, you know, and so it's much more feasible for us to get on the bus and go to Montgomery, Alabama. And if that means getting an extra bus to be able to social distance the guys a little bit better on the bus, traveling to and from the game, all of those things are more realistic and a lot more fiscally responsible than the exorbitant cost that comes along with chartering flights. And so if you went to a regional or divisional conference schedule for the short term, just to make sure that we were able to play some football, but you stay relatively close to the teams of your general region, I think there are a lot of reasons as to why that makes sense.
Right. And now you could still even have a championship game. You wouldn't, of course, meet in Atlanta, but you could treat the championship game, you know, with the home team being the one with the better record between division, and they can break down whatever tiebreakers that they want to, flip a coin, flip each other, however that goes. But it would make better sense and even save you a little money and make a little bit money on the both sides of the coin. What I'm thinking as far as your expenses to try to play 8 games rather than playing in this case, it would be 4 or 5 divisional games, and you could still have the camaraderie and the spirit of competition.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is going to just be based on safety, you know, and the viability of putting teams on buses and going into hotels and the amount of time it takes, you know, to get to those places and the amount of time that you'll be there. So hopefully by the spring, we've gotten a handle on this virus, a much better handle than we do now. Hopefully people are a lot more responsible than we are now. So these numbers can drastically decrease. I've seen that there's some prospects of a possible vaccine, you know, that's getting a lot of positive momentum. Maybe that's introduced by the spring. So again, you know, that's 5 or 6 months away, and so there's still a lot that can happen between now and then, good and bad. You know, we're gonna be optimistic and pray for the good. But you know, I think you have to consider every alternative because again, we just don't know. And like I said, this is something that, and we don't have a blueprint for. There's no one that we can call and say, hey, when you guys went through this, how did you handle it? Because whether you're a Power 5 institution, Group of 5, FCS, Division 2, Division 3, NAIA, none of us have ever seen this before, and so we're all just trying to figure it out together with the health and safety of our student athletes, our coaches, support staff, and their respective families at the forefront of every decision that we make. And then there's a huge financial component that comes along with it as well, that even though we don't talk about it a lot, it is very real. You know, the college football is a huge financial generator for most institutions. And so the prospects of not having that will definitely have some short-term implications on how every athletic program at the university is supported, not just football, but everyone, because like I said, football generates the vast majority of revenue for most athletic departments across the country.
Now, with that being said, Coach, do you believe that you would still generate even, I'm going to say 50% of what you normally would in a fall season in the spring?
I think there's some creative opportunities that may present themselves with the spring schedule. Obviously, football is a fall sport, professionally and at the collegiate level, and so the prospects of having football in the spring may be something that's appealing to a lot of people. I think this country loves its football, whether it be high school, collegiately, or professionally, and so. SWAC, MEAC, if the MEAC decides to go in that direction, and some of the other conferences who are proposing it, the ability to play in the spring as the only show in town may offer some possibilities to maybe secure some TV rights and contracts. And so I think the money that you would lose on the guaranteed games that we wouldn't obviously be able to play because most of those teams are committed to playing this fall. The classics, a lot of the classics would be postponed, and then just the ability to have full crowds may not be there by that time. Still, there will be some revenue loss, but I do think that there's some opportunities to make that up if we can be proactive and progressive in reaching out to some of the cable networks, the TV networks, to see if we can secure some type of short-term television package for spring football.
Well, wouldn't that kind of be going against the grain, being that the television rights are secured by ESPN?
Well, it may be ESPN because, again, the programming is there. I think just the time slots are available. You think about Saturdays in the spring. I can't think off the top of my head what typically happens, but you look at. I know there's some basketball rights that they have, so you potentially playing during basketball season, maybe baseball, some other sports, but you look at now, most of the professional leagues are playing right now. You have basketball that's resumed that will be playing, for the next couple of months. You got baseball that started up, that's going to be playing for the next few months, and football is about to start. So I seriously doubt any of those professional leagues, Major League Soccer, hockey, so basically we're just all the major sports are playing in the fall this year because of the adjusted schedule. So there may be an opportunity for us to secure a primetime slot this spring, because I seriously doubt any of those professional leagues will turn right back around and try to play again this spring at the end of the season, sometime this fall. You got to give people's bodies time to rest and all of those things. So there may be some opportunities. Again, I think that's a conversation for the commissioner and those that are charged with securing those type of opportunities for our member institutions. But if we're diligent enough and proactive enough, I do think there's an opportunity to secure a market that may be out there for springtime football.
Okay, once again, we're talking with Shotgun Willie Simmons, FAMU Rattlers, talking about some scenarios and possibilities that could happen if the SWAC picks up spring football. Let me ask you this, Coach. You just talked about the ability to give the body rest. Do you feel like you would be asking too much of those students who would remain, the juniors, the sophomores, and even the freshmen, to have them play a spring season, whether it's condensed or not, and then to turn around and get ready for a fall season? Would that be asking a lot for these guys?
I think it will. I definitely think that you have to consider the volatile nature, so to speak, of football and how physical it is and the physical toll it takes on your body. And so obviously injuries are part of the game. You're looking at possible postseason surgeries that may take place, whether it be reconstructions that typically take months to heal, or even microscopic surgery, not microscopic, but scopes, which typically take a few weeks to a month to heal. And thinking about the prospects of those guys finishing the season potentially in May, April, May, or even into June, depending on how far they try to stretch it, and then turn around and potentially start a new football season the following September, which is only a few months later. So again, there's a lot that goes into this decision. There's a lot to consider. The health and safety of the student athletes, again, it has to be the first and foremost one. And so the science behind it, I think that's something that has to be discussed with the health and safety physically, not just with COVID, but just the physical health and safety of our student athletes if they play a full football season or even a compromised football season this spring, and then a quick turnaround to be able to try to play again next fall, because obviously we want to get back to a sense of normalcy as quickly as possible, and what that looks like. And so, again, like I said in the beginning, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things to be considered, and I'd be lying to you if I said I had all the answers to it.
Well, I know you wouldn't lie to me on purpose. I would hope not anyway. Hey, I got to take a break. We're at the bottom half of the hour. Can you stick around with us while we take this break, sir?
I can.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll listen to the Sunday Night Live edition on the Open Mic Broadcast Network and the Mike Prince Show. Keep it where you got it. We'll be right back.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Join us for a daily episode of the Mike Prince Show right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Prince, the pastor of the Temple of Refuge Ministries located in Prairie View, Texas. I am extending a personal invitation to you to come and worship with us Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Simply dial 857-777-0000 and join us for our morning worship. In the event that you miss us live, you can always go to our on-demand center at 720-721-1558 to listen to our latest sermons and Bible studies. Temple of Refuge Ministries, where we're building the kingdom, one soul at a time. Numbers to dial again for our live sermons, 857-777-0000 and on demand, 720-721-1558. Be blessed.
I present to you 3 of the fiercest subjects ever assembled in the cage of doom. First, the brain-wrenching behemoth, Algebra 2, weighing in at a mind-boggling 800 pounds. Foreign languages! The multilingual international sensation capable of tossing you clear across the Atlantic. And finally, biology. More ferocious than formaldehyde, she'll dissect you one chromosome at a time. Who among you will step up to their challenge?
Yeah, I'll do it. Me too. I'm in. Sign me up.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college. Find out which classes you need at knowhowtogo.org.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
It's the Open Mic with Dr. Mike. The Open Radio and the Mike Prince Show. The Open Mic Broadcast Network. The Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Oh, yeah, somebody blowing.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Open Mic Broadcast Network and the Mike Prince Show Sunday night edition. I just love that little song. It's the Open Mic with Dr. Mike. We got on the line with us Shotgun Willie Simmons, and we were talking about the possibilities of what could be for the spring as far as football is concerned. There is a lot on the table, even though we're talking, apples to oranges as far as the monetary gain and loss, but there still would be a huge financial hit if spring is not to be able to be fulfilled. And I guess the same would hold true for FAMU, right, Coach?
Oh, no question. Football is obviously the primary generator of revenue for our entire athletics department. And so the prospects of not playing football at all, again, my numbers may be slightly off, but listening to my vice president and athletics director, Courtney Gaucher, he's mentioned somewhere in the ballpark of $4.5 million that we miss out on if we don't play football.
$4.5 million. And the last I checked, your budget was either $10.2 or $10.7 million, right?
Right, just right around $10 million. So almost a little less than half of the revenue that the athletic department generates would be from football. And so just the thought of losing that, missing out on that, and still having to pay scholarships, still having to obviously pay coaches' salaries and other things that obviously are a part of running a successful athletics program. All of those things would now be in question. So it's, like I said, unprecedented. Can't say that enough.
Right.
Something that we're all dealing with across the country. And like I said, that's why I think our AD is probably met out as far as Zooms and other meetings, trying to figure out how best to proceed. And we as head coaches are in the same boat. Just again, trying to pull a solid plan together for our student athletes, for the parents, just to be able to give them something to help them know what's going on.
Now, when we talk about this money part and that $4.5 million on this $10 million budget, does that have anything to remotely do with this? What is it, like another was $9 million or something that was being floated out? Those are two different scenarios, though, right?
Say that again.
About the it was like a $9 million financial concern or something. I heard about it, read about it briefly, and went on. That has nothing to do with the potential loss that what you're talking about right now in football, though, right?
No, that's the deficit that the Florida Board of Governors has placed on the Florida A&M Athletic Department. We've been charged with repaying ourselves over a 10-year period. They calculated somewhere north of $9 million that the university had been basically supporting athletics through different auxiliaries across campus. Obviously, there's some rules and regulations as to how university revenue is used, and Florida has a very strict policy statewide that basically says that athletic departments at universities are self-sufficient. And so there's been some, I don't know if you even want to call it mismanagement. Basically in the Prince household, the sister of the daughter of the family has been helping the brother, her little brother, pay some of his bills. And Daddy came in and said, "Well, you shouldn't be doing that. So, brother, you got to pay your sister back for all the time that she helped bail you out. When your phone bill was due."
Us common folk call it robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's
I wouldn't even call it robbing, because the money was there. It's available. So FAMU is not in debt. It's not like FAMU, the university, hasn't been able to pay its bills. We have. The university doesn't owe anyone. It's just that, again, the daughter had a surplus of money. She was very, very generous good managing her money.
Right.
She had a little bit of money left in her bank account. The brother had a phone bill due, and she said, "Well, I'm not going to let you get your lights turned off and not have my cell phone. So here's a few dollars to pay your phone bill." And I was just, she's been doing that over the course of some years. And Dad finally came in and said, "Hey, our family says that's not legal. Not legal because it's not illegal, but it's not welcomed." And so, to make it right, brother, all the money that she gave you over this time, you're gonna have to just slowly pay it back over time. And that's basically the situation that.
So there are no penalties or anything stemming from that. Nothing like that.
No, there's nothing. Like I said, and it's nothing illegal that we did. It's just, again, and even one of the board members last week even recommended that they waive that, because we've been doing the right thing over the last couple of years as far as leadership, as far as money management. We've made budget the last few years, and so for us to climb out of the financial situation that we are faced as an athletics department, waiving that will go a long way, because you're looking over the whatever time frame that they've used to pay it back, that's those few $100,000 they have to pay the university back per year, obviously, takes a significant chunk out of our operating expenses.
Right.
And so, if they're able to waive that, I think it would definitely help this athletic department in a major way.
Well, just do the James Foxworthy approach, man. Just write a check and go and be done with it.
If the money was...
No, I'm just saying what James Foxworthy's point was, I can write you a check. Don't mean that it's there, but at least, it's an in-house thing. That was my sarcastic way of saying, man, let it go and be done. It wasn't like Rutgers. Rutgers took $100 million and no one knew they had taken the money, and now they're being sued by the staff. So we don't have a case like that. But once again, apples to oranges. We're talking with Shotgun Willie Simmons of the FAMU Rattlers. And, Coach, what I always appreciate about you is that you've been a straight shooter from beginning to end. And I think that's what makes us work. You take the bitter with the sweet, the good with the bad, the rain with the sun, and you never duck. And I appreciate you for that. That's why you're still on my Christmas list, man. And I appreciate that. We got this one other hurdle that we must talk about, and I think you know where I'm going right now. And can you explain the waiver situation?
Which waiver exactly?
The waivers where it was reported that FAMU student athletics had to sign some type of waiver in order for them to compete with this COVID deal, that you all wouldn't be held accountable or responsible.
Right, and so I actually saw the report sometime last week, and to be honest, Mike, it was new to me. I remember having conversations with our athletics director about that very thing a few months ago, and we looked, across the state. Typically, we're a state institution. Obviously, we're in the Florida State University system, which is unlike Texas, where Texas has multiple systems throughout the state. Florida has one. So we're in the same system as Florida State, Florida, UCF, Central Florida, South Florida. All of us are in the same system. And so we looked around the state to see if other schools were doing things like that, and some of them were not, and some were, I think. So if it was something that was done outside of the athletics department. It wasn't something that we came up with, if I'm just being candid, because if it was unbeknownst to me. I don't remember talking to my student athletes about signing any type of waivers to compete or play. My entire plan this summer was to bring them back, which we did. We brought about 75% of our team back this summer, and they got tested. They were isolated. The few who did test positive were quarantined, and the rest of the guys, began training. Just like the vast majority of the athletic programs, football programs around the country did. And so once the conference made the decision to suspend fall sports, we slowly began the process of sending the guys back home. And that's really all I knew about anything. And so when I saw the report last week about a waiver that was signed, it was news to me. And so if it was, I guess I'm not familiar with. I have to look at the waiver to see what it said. If someone has a printed copy, you can definitely send it to me and I'll look at it. But I know one thing for sure, and that's that our student athletes wanted to play. Our young men were excited about playing football this fall, and they're very disappointed that we're not playing. And so if they were presented with the waiver to play, I would assume that most of them would sign it because they do want to play football. Now, like I said, that's not something that we administered as a coaching staff. That's not something that our strength conditioning staff or training staff or anybody else administered. If it was done by our general counsel, because obviously that's something that legal will have to approve. And I'm assuming that that's what it was, if indeed there was a waiver. I still haven't seen it, to be perfectly honest. I have not seen anything along the lines of a signed waiver or something that our student athletes will have to sign to give them permission to play this year. And so, I'm sorry I can't really speak on it as far as knowledge, because it's new to me. Because I've never seen something that our student athletes had to sign to say that they would be okay playing without, I guess, responsibility of the university, I'm assuming, is what it would look like. Because again, I don't know what any other reason why they.
That was pretty much in summary what it was saying, that the university couldn't be held responsible if a COVID case were to come up. I don't see how it could hold up in court, but nonetheless, it is what it is, and it's been handled right now. When you're sending the student athletes back, what are the plans as far as fall academia is concerned for FAMU? And will it be online only, or will it be a hybrid situation? What are the plans?
Yeah, it's a hybrid situation. We do have some online courses, but we also have some in-class instruction as well. And so I think just having those conversations with VP Gaucher, the freshmen, I think FAMU has a plan to try to have all the freshmen on campus. You know, obviously, you really don't want to start a student off in their college career doing virtual learning, just because of some of the lack of resources that some of our students have, and some of the nuances of being a college student. So I think the plan is to have all the freshmen on campus and to have a combination of online and in-class instruction for the remainder. I do know this: the university has gone to single occupancy in all of its residence halls. FAMU has about 4,800 beds on campus, and that number has been reduced in half, so a little bit over 2,000 beds, and all those beds are filled, and there's also a waiting list. So there will potentially be upwards of 3,000 students that will be on FAMU's campus this fall, and obviously the university enrollment is close to 10,000. So there will be students on campus. I'm not sure the exact number. I think the student athletes will more than likely be there, even if we're not playing this fall. I think it's safer for our students, as crazy as it sounds, to be on campus, because obviously we do have the ability to test them. Bragg Stadium is a testing site, and so we have the ability to test our student athletes every week, and that's why we were one of the few schools that were able to satisfy the testing guidelines that were put forth by the NCAA. And so we have the ability to do that, and frankly, some of our student athletes are in pretty dire situations as far as their home life, and it will be a lot more conducive to a healthy learning environment if they're in Tallahassee on campus. And so the plan is to bring the vast majority back, and obviously if anyone requests to stay home, whether it be to work or just do virtual learning, I think those opportunities will be afforded to them. But we will have a hybrid learning model this fall that includes both in-class instruction as well as virtual learning. Okay,
very good. And you just brought up another valid point with some of the conditions that these student athletes are at home with. And a lot of people don't understand that you can actually get sicker being at home because you don't have even the simple luxuries of social distancing with some of the small apartments and homes that some of these guys are living in, and girls as well. And with that being said, and I know it's been a hot topic and probably even elevated more now, have you guys implemented any type of mental wellness for your student athletes?
Yeah, we do. I've charged my coaches with weekly calls to our student athletes. We actually have a team meeting on the 7th, which is sometime next week or later this week. It's a new week. Actually, my days are kind of running together now, but Sunday's a new week. So on August 7th, we have a team meeting with a therapist who will do some interactive things. It's going to be virtual through Zoom, obviously, because we can't have the guys all in one setting, but there will be a virtual wellness kind of seminar meeting for the football players coming up shortly, and then we'll have more. So we've talked a lot, my athletic director and myself, other leadership, about the need to make sure that our student athletes are looked after as far as their mental health and wellness. I've said it for a long time now. I think that's the most underserved aspect of being a student athlete at most of our institutions. Talking about low resource institutions, not just HBCUs, but low resource institutions in general. I think mental health and wellness is the most underserved component of that. and it's definitely an area that we need to ramp up. So I'm trying to do my part as the leader of this program to ensure that our student athletes at least have an outlet and an opportunity to hear from people that are well versed in those areas, and also be able to voice their own experiences, get some of those challenges out. Like I said, most of these guys are going back to situations that aren't very conducive to healthy learning. Just like most families, when you send Mike Prince off to college, his bedroom is converted to something else.
Amen. Amen.
And so it might be maybe little brother's room, maybe turn into the family office, whatever the case may be. So some of our guys are sleeping on their couches. Some are even sleeping on the floor, or some, or worse, they have to try to sleep with other family members or girlfriends and other things of that nature, friends, which, like you said, just isn't conducive to staying safe. So we definitely want to make sure that we're able to treat our students and serve them the way that they should be served, and that's academic care, with access to computers and laptops and tutorial services, those type things. That's mental health care in the form of therapists and counseling sessions, and even their physical wellness. We're still being able to weight train and just have a sense of normalcy. Athletes are typically the most successful when they have a routine, and that routine involves a lot of different aspects of their lives. And so we want to try to do as many things as we can to give them those basic routines that they've had, since they got in college. And if we can do that, we feel like we'll have a better semester academically, a better semester as far as our guys not getting in the situations that jeopardize their futures, and really just give us a chance to get through this thing until we can resume some sense of normalcy.
Now, Coach, I know we spent a lot of time talking about the student athletes and their mental well-being. What about your coaching staff and then some of those guys who literally are on the bubble? Because we've dreaded to even talk about it, but there's a possibility in the event there is no fall athletics that some jobs might end up having to be cut. Is the same opportunity extended to those guys on the coaching staff?
Yeah, and it's a very real thing. And I had a staff meeting last week, and prepared the coaches. Said, "Hey, look, there are potentially some things that will come down that will affect us financially." And so, really charge them with getting their finances in order, making sure that they are starting to cut back on spending. I've had that same conversation with my wife about that, because obviously if you start talking about furloughs and taking pay cuts and those things, obviously the highest earners at the universities are the first ones that typically are doing that, and I'm obviously one of the highest earners on Florida A&M's campus, and so just preparing for the worst. We're thankful to God that hasn't been the case so far. We haven't had to lay off any full-time workers. We haven't had to furlough any full-time workers, but we can't say that will be the case, especially if we decide to not play football. And so, just like you said, extending those same opportunities to them for to be able to take advantage of all the resources that we have. Because obviously, coaches' mental health gets overlooked a lot of times, just like players' mental health does. And it's a serious thing, and even the situation we saw yesterday, unfortunately, the coach passed away at Lafayette, Louisiana Lafayette, a 31-year-old coach, passing away of a heart attack, and so it's real. The stress, the stress of this profession, the stresses of what happens this fall, of the uncertainty about what are we going to do. All those things are real things, and so that's why. Even me, I'm not a big vacation guy. If it was up to me, we would never go on vacation, just because I'm always thinking about work and how to get better. Thankfully, I have a wife who makes me do it. And that's why we're taking a 5-day vacation here in Destin just to get away. It's close enough to home where something happens, I can get back home. But we're able to just go on the beach, kick our feet up in the sand, let some sunshine hit us to see beautiful water, and we are social distancing. Obviously, Destin's not the the party place. That's more Panama City. So if I was in Panama City, people would probably worry and say, well, Coach is off the chain. They're just doing whatever. But Destin's a lot more calm and more of a retirement area. So, but again, I think it's important that we just find ways to take care of ourselves, our mental health and wellness, our physical health and wellness. I mean, you see, we're disproportionately affected by this virus. I think that's a big reason why, because many of us in the African American community, we're not in the best shape, and we allow stress to even cause more problems with us. And so it's imperative that we just take care of ourselves mentally and physically. So God forbid we do contract this virus, and in many cases deadly virus, we can at least try to come out on the other side of it. So it's I can't say enough about that. Like I said, the health and wellness of our students is the forefront of my mind, but also the health and wellness of my family, my children, my extended family, the entire community. Because again, I was raised in the only community or county in the state of Florida that's predominantly African American, and we're seeing the effects of how this virus is ravaging Gadsden County more so than the other surrounding counties that are predominantly white. And so it's a real thing, and I hope everyone's taking it seriously.
Yes, indeed, sir, because I know just as you probably have experienced some personal friends that have been overcome by this thing, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down. It seems like it's picking up more speed as we speak. But nonetheless, we got to try to stay as sharp mentally as well as physically to weather this storm. But final quick question, Coach. UCF, I know the game was a big game. Have you guys talked about rescheduling that one yet, or has a date been set?
Yeah, again, there are a lot of things that are up for discussion right now. Some I'm not at liberty to talk about because they're ongoing things. But I am blessed. I think we as a university, and I say as a department, we're blessed to have a progressive and forward-thinking athletics director. Courtney Gaucher has come in and hit the ground running. We have so many amazing things that have happened in the 6 months that he's been at the helm. Our football locker room has undergone a complete renovation. Our women's softball locker room has undergone a complete renovation. We've raised over $400,000 in the Rattler Athletic Fund over that time, and things are just booming, for Florida A&M, even amidst a pandemic. And so he's constantly working, constantly sending me scenarios about opportunities to play if it's safe. Obviously it's all contingent on whether the experts feel like it's safe to do or not. But we're trying to be proactive and progressive. And I know the SWAC at this point is moving towards a spring schedule, and if that's something that the MEAC can't come to, there may be a possibility that we are involved in that in some capacity. Not really sure how much of it, but because we are transitioning to the conference, there have been some discussions along those lines. And so, we're trying to do everything we can to protect this program, protect this brand, and protect these student athletes. And so we'll see what happens. Again, like I said, right now on August the 2nd, I don't have the answers to those questions, but hopefully in the coming weeks we will have some more definitive answers about what football will look like for Florida A&M in the 2021 academic year.
Man, if I didn't hear you better, it sounded like you might have just dangled a little teaser in front of us, huh?
Like I said, there's a lot of moving parts, brother. Like I said, there's a lot going on, and so there will be, like I said, I think there'll be some things that come out here in the coming weeks about the direction this football program is headed in, because obviously we want to, like I said, do what's best for our program, for our university. And if that's playing, then that's finding a way to do it safely as possible. If that's not playing, obviously that's trying to figure out a way to generate some significant revenue so that we're not laying off workers and essential staff and people that have committed themselves to serving this university.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, man, with that being said, we have hit the top of the hour. I want to give you some closing thoughts and comments, man. I thank you so much for being with us. You got anything you want to share?
No, I just want to echo again what I just said. this virus is really affecting our community. And so anyone listening, I mean, we got to be smart. We got to be careful. Continue to social distance. Continue to wear our mask. Get tested. And any symptoms. I mean, even if you don't have symptoms, I mean, get tested, because obviously the numbers are spiking, and there's a reason for that. And we got to find a way to slow it down. So let's all do our part. We all have an obligation to one another. And my wife and I talk about it all the time. When you get in the car, you put your seatbelt on for two reasons. One, because you want to make sure you're safe, but you also drive carefully and do all those things to make sure that you're keeping everyone around you safe. And this is no different, so we wear our masks to protect us, but we also wear it to protect those around us. So do the right things, and let's figure out a way to get back to a sense of normalcy that we can all enjoy our lives and live long and be prosperous.
All right, Spock. That was long and prosperous. Shotgun Willie Simmons, our special guest tonight on the Sunday Night Live Mike Prince Show. I want to thank you guys so much for joining in with us. Thank our sponsors. Remember, you can join us each and every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Of Sundays, we are live, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. My time has come where I must exit stage left. I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of tonight's episode. Don't forget, if the Lord says the same and the creek don't rise, we'll meet you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I've got to go. My time is far spent. But until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.